This hair.
It's so pretty.
Thank you. It makes me feel very 90s, I'm not gonna lie. Like Spice Girls, especially with the bright green. Tell me what I want, whatever they. Hey, what's up, internet? It's your girl Breezy back for another episode of the Black Girl Baking Show. Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm so glad you came back for another time of baking and laughter and hopefully no mess ups and clear, concise instructions. We'll see if I can do that today. It is leading up to St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day, I think, is in about 5 days or something like that. So I wanted to bring out a recipe to honor that. I didn't want to do something regular schmegular and make it green, like a little key lime pie or green cookies or I don't know, something else. I wanted to be more authentic and make something that the Irish might actually appreciate. So today I'm making Irish soda bread, which, to give a little history lesson, was something that was created like in the 18th something, when there was famine and people didn't have a lot of money. And so it was a very simple bread that they could make that would fill their bellies, that just was flour, it was salt, it was an egg, and then it was baking soda, which was the new kid on the block as far as baking was concerned. It had just been invented and they figured out how to make it rise. To me, that sounded a little tasteless, a little boring, a little bland. So I decided to put my spin on it that's more Tuscan Italian-ish. So without further ado, let's get into it. First things first, preheat the oven. I'm using the oven. So preheat it to 350. I'll do that now. I don't know why I said it like that. That was weird. 350, start. This is the basis of the entire recipe. A whole lot of flour, a whole gang of flour. This is 4 cups. Then I'm gonna add in all my seasonings because, again, I thought it sounded a little bland before. No shade to the Irish, I'm just saying I like flavor. So I have some onion powder. I have some basil. I have some baking powder, baking soda, garlic powder, and salt. And that's gonna be our little elixir. It's gonna make it pop. All right, so I'm gonna give this a quick whisk up together just to make sure everything combines, all the leavening agents are dispersed, so that there's not gonna be clumps of that in there. Now I'm gonna take 4 tablespoons of butter, which is also a 1/4 cup of butter, and plop it in there. I'm gonna get a glove on real quick. Let me get all the little pieces of butter, and you want the butter to be cold, ideally. My butter, for some reason, is not hard cold. I don't know what that means about the refrigerator, but we'll look into that. I'm gonna take my pastry blender and cut the butter into the flour. Cutting in simply means just what I said. You're gonna break up the pieces into small, like crumble sized pieces. If you don't have a pastry blender because you're a novice, you can also use a fork or 2 forks and kind of do one of these movements and smash them together. Or you can use a food processor if you have that. But I'm going to assume if you don't have a pastry blender, you don't have a food processor. So use your forks. I take the butter, kind of move it around, cutting right through it, mixing in the flour. Honestly, this is not a lot of butter, so it's gonna not look as crumbly. Like if you were to do biscuits, you'd see the butter a lot more in there. But this is a whole lot of flour for not a lot of butter. And again, have it be cold. If it's warm, it'll just smush. It won't cut at all. It'll just smush up, cake up, and you'll have flour stuck to butter. That's probably about good. What I'm gonna do real quickly is, this is a 1.5 cups of buttermilk, and 1.5 cups is about what you need. You might need more or less depending on how accurately you measure the flour, or depending on how much moisture is in the air. Those factors can affect whether or not you'll need more buttermilk to make it hold together. We'll see and find out in a minute. But I'm also gonna take some sun-dried tomatoes, which were so lovely. I don't think there's a way to say it. Okay, I sound dumb. They were cut up well. And I'm gonna add it to my buttermilk so they can continue to disperse a little bit. I wanna get all the flavor out as much as possible. And kind of like with the Express Yourself cookies that I made before, I want as much of the oils that was in those sun-dried tomatoes and the flavor to get into my buttermilk so that when I put it into the dough, it'll really get all through there. And you'll taste it a lot. So I'm gonna put them in there, give it a little shake, maybe a little stir, and you'll see the beautiful red and orange start to seep into the buttermilk. It's very oily though. I do suggest using gloves because, and an apron. My gosh, use an apron. It will never come out. This, I don't know what kind of oil they put in the jars. It's thick, it's pigmented. It will never come out. And then I'll do what I call the, no, not me, I guess I didn't make it up. But I'm gonna make a well in the center of the flour. Just like that, so that the flour is all pushed up against the sides. Oh wait, Chad, I almost forgot something already. Real quick, let me add in this sugar. You need a 4th cup of sugar. I'll just mix it around with my hands, that'll work. It's not a sweet bread, so it shouldn't taste sweet. Okay, now I'm gonna make the well again. I'm gonna pour in the buttermilk. It's splashing me in the face. It's splashing me in the face. And also take 1 egg and plop it right on in there. This is unorthodox. I don't know if the recipe actually calls for this. I'm just doing it this way because I haven't made this in a year and I don't remember how to do it. So I'm just gonna assume it'll be okay. Okay, I'm gonna chop up the egg a little bit with my hand. And then I'm gonna do it like this. Slowly start to incorporate the buttermilk and the sun-dried tomatoes into the flour mixture and the egg. You can also use a fork. And honestly, it's probably better to use a fork so that you don't accidentally overwork the dough. And the heat from your hands can melt the butter. I'm saying this as I'm doing it. It's fine. It'll be fine. So it's almost all combined. There's still some flour on the bottom. I'm gonna stop right now and add in a little bit of mild cheddar cheese. Because again, Americans like cheese. You know how we do. Cheese and everything. Cheese on everything. I'm gonna finish mixing in the cheese and the rest of the flour. I think we're about good. Yeah, we're there. Okay, it's a little sticky, but not so much that it's, you know, holding onto my hands very strongly. I need to get a baking sheet and clean up a little bit so that I don't get flour on stuff. Hold on, give me a second. I swatched out things a little bit on my surface here, but I have a baking sheet, light colored, because light colored helps for it to bake evenly. When you have a dark colored pan, for some reason the heat attracts to the darkness. It'll cook quickly on the bottom. You'll have black bottom whatever and light top whatever. You don't want it. Get a light colored baking sheet. I put some parchment paper on there. That helps with cleanup. It'll also help for the bread to be able to pop off quicker and easier than if you just put it directly onto the baking sheet. You can do that if you want to. Should be okay. Maybe give it a quick spray, you know, of some oil, but it should be fine either way, I think. Take the dough all in one blob, plop it right onto the baking sheet with the parchment paper. It's not very cute, I'm not gonna lie, okay? You gotta remember, this was for famine. This was for poverty. This was for, you know, feeding 15 children on about 10 cents. This is how Irish soda bread works. You just put it right in a blob like that. Make it a cute blob, nice round blob. I'm gonna cut a little cut. The traditional design is like a cross. You do one this way and one this way. Should I get fancy?
Yes.
What should I do? You know what? I know what I'll do. I'm gonna do some diagonal. That's not really diagonal, because if I turn it this way, it's just...
What is diagonal?
Diagonal's this one, ain't it? That's diagonal, right? This is like up and down. This is sideways. This is diagonal.
Frontal. Diagonal.
Yeah.
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 That's diagonal.
No.
Isn't it? No?
Diagonals.
Help us, Lord.
We've been out of college too long. Goodness. Okay. We're gonna do some lines, okay? You wanna cut in, not super deep, definitely don't cut all the way through, but like maybe a 1/4 inch deep. And this will help for it to bake evenly. It'll also help for let the heat escape. And it'll give a little cute design at the end. Now this reminds me of hot cross buns. Hot cross buns. 1 a penny, 2 a penny. Why do they have us doing that?
The other words.
No.
Just hot cross buns.
Just hot cross buns. That's it. Why did they have us doing that in elementary on the quarters? Just dumb. Just dumb. What is the American education system? Since we don't even know what diagonal is, but you're in here teaching us hot cross buns. Make that make sense.
Yep.
So now I did my design. We'll see how that turns out. I think it'll be cute. It seems like it'll be interesting. The last thing I want to do is do a little egg wash on top. Get 1 egg, bust that bad boy open, 1 tablespoon of water, and then give it a light little whisk. And what the egg wash does is it makes it a little shiny. So you brush it on top of whatever bread you're doing, and when it bakes, it'll have this nice shine to it, which helps it look like it's pretty and on purpose. And because this bread is a little on the uggo side, we want to do everything we can to make it pretty. So it should be nice and watery, like that, perfect. And like I said, you're just gonna brush it on there. Don't make it a thick brushing, because then you'll have cooked eggs on your bread. Don't want it to pool up. If you can kind of spread it around. I like to coat everything. I don't want it to just be on top. Go on the sides, you know, go in the crevices of the cuts so that when it bakes, even the crevices will be shiny. Now they're all brushed and shiny and pretty. I'm gonna throw it into the oven to let it bake. I think for about 45 minutes. I gotta check. Where's my recipe? Oh, that's a long time. 70 minutes. Yeah, let me go ahead and pop it in and I'll see you after 50, 60, 70 minutes. Do well, I believe in you. And now I'm gonna make something special. This was my little razzle dazzle to this recipe. Usually with Irish soda bread, there is no oil dip, but I thought this needs a little extra zhuzh, little je ne sais quoi. So I decided to make an oil dip. That's just spices and herbs put together, and then you pour some oil over it, some olive oil, and you dip it in there. Very straightforward. Sounds like exactly what it is. So my oil dip goes a little something like this. Oh gosh. Oh, got some thyme, a little bit of thyme, a little bit of oregano, a little bit of basil, a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of salt. That's the herbs. That's it. That's that. Okay. Now I'm just gonna give it a little stir with a teaspoon to make sure everything gets mixed together. Oh gosh, the pepper. I have to work to get it on my nose. Oh, nope, we're good. Okay, but you're not gonna use this whole thing. This you can keep in a jar or a little plastic baggie or something. Now you just take 1 teaspoon of it. Put it right in the center of a little dish like this. And then you take some olive oil. Let me see, I think I'm supposed to do 2 tablespoons. Well, let's just see what 1 looks like. Oh, 1 is all I have, so we're gonna do 1. Pour it right on top of there. Let's just jiggle you around a little bit, just jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. And this is what I'll use to dip my bread into. Now the bread is out the oven, so let me show you that. Here is our Irish soda bread, and isn't it pretty? So beautifully golden brown on top. You can see the slight shine from the egg wash, and you can see the cheese streaked in there. The sun-dried tomatoes are poking out everywhere. I like this design. I actually prefer the cuts that I did here because it feels more, I don't know, rustic, you know, more earthy, as opposed to just having the cross. It's boring, it's bland, it's not me. So let's cut into it and see what happens. Ooh, ooh, wow, look at that. Can you see the tomatoes in there? You see the cheese. Smells amazing. I mean, wow. Such an easy bread to make. It really is kind of just like a big biscuit, low-key. If you think about it, there's buttermilk, there's butter, there's a little bit of sugar. Yeah, this is low-key like a big old biscuit. We're gonna have Kiana try it because I'm fasting and I already had to do a couple things over the last couple days, and I'm trying to hold on to God's unchanging hands. So I shall not be moved, even though I haven't eaten today, so I'm very hungry, but I'm gonna be steadfast. Here's your oil dip, and there's your bread. It smells so good. Oh my gosh. Tell me what you think.
It's nice and fluffy.
Fluffy, yes.
Still so warm.
Very warm indeed, yeah.
Okay.
Taste. What do we think? Her eyes are closed. Her hand is doing this. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's delicious. I mean, I expected it to be delicious. It does smell delicious. She says it's delicious. That's that on that. I really like this bread. I don't make it very often because it's just so much. Like, I don't know if you can see in comparison to my hand, this is a lot of bread. I can't even cover it completely with my hands. It's a lot. So you kind of need to share it with people. But if you're looking for a quick, easy bread that has some flavor It's, you know, doesn't take a lot of ingredients. I mean, a lot of herbs and spices, but it's very easy to do. You can't mess it up as long as you do everything by step. You put it in a blob. You don't even have to like design it. You just put it there and then cut it a little bit. It'll come out like this. So I think you should try it for St. Patrick's Day this year. There's no green, but I'm wearing green, so I can't be pinched. Thank you for watching. Do all the things, like, subscribe it, share it. Try it out and let me know what happens when you try it. So, yeah, that's it. I guess I'll see you next time. Bye.